Steve, thanks for seeing us today. But I guess really after the weekend and last night, the result's disappointing, but you must be frustrated more than anything because we could have influenced those games so much more.
Yeah, 2 league games since we last spoke. From our point of view, only 1 point out of 6 is obviously not what we want. I think there's lots to take encouragement from both games, but there's also some recurring frustrations which we need to nip in the bud pretty quickly if we're gonna get where we want to go.
Yeah, because I mean, if you take like the Fish game of the weekend, I said to you, we had 10 chances on or just missing the goal. Had probably 75% of the possession in the second half. Yet somehow we've conceded 3 goals and couldn't score for Toffee.
Which is unusual for us. I think the first half hour, and again speaking to people from Fisher, they're the ones that actually told me this. I think the first half hour we dominated in most departments, and you really need for one to go in, don't you? Especially at a place like Fisher, they've got a very good home record, and I think for us to have half an hour where we're very much on top, we really needed one of those to go in. That said, you got no divine right. It just didn't quite happen for us on the day. It wasn't for want of trying. The goal we let in, we'll have to hold our hands up. Really, the first one, I don't think anyone was majorly accountable. Maybe you just got to say the opposition have done quite well there. I think the big problem was letting the second one in so close to half time. So I think within a 5-minute spell, we've gone from being largely on top to 2-0 down with half time looming.
I think that second one as well was a bit of a familiar sight where we conceded a goal and then we suddenly dropped back deep for a few minutes straight away.
Yeah.
And just invite them on.
I guess that's definitely a subconscious thing. It's not something we've told. Obviously, you don't tell anyone to drop off. I guess maybe just rattles people for a few minutes. I suppose the opposition get their tails up and probably play with a slightly renewed enthusiasm. Maybe they sniffed a bit of blood. I guess it's like a boxer. Maybe you get hit with a big shot. Maybe it takes you a couple of minutes just to get the wobbles out of your knees. But you're right. We definitely stood off a little bit too much, and the second goal came as a result of that, really.
Yeah, and like I said, Fisher must have finished the game thinking, yeah, we've been brilliant, we won that 3-0. I bet when they look back and think, how the hell did we win that 3-0?
3-1.
3-1,
yeah.
How the hell did we?
Well, goals change games, don't they? And it comes down to being clinical in both 18-yard boxes, and ultimately we weren't able to be clinical in theirs, and we weren't able to be clinical in shutting out. I'll give them the first goal, I'll say fair play. Second goal, I think we stood off a little bit too much, and the third goal, unfortunately, which was 5 minutes into the second half, it's the kind of classic cliche, next goal's really important, and unfortunately for us, it probably, if we're going to be realistic without being defeatist, it probably snubbed any real chance we had of getting anything out of the game. But the one thing I take some encouragement from is the boys didn't down tools. I mean, how many times have you seen a side, could have been a very long second half, how many times have you seen a side, any level of football, just kind of mentally down tools when the game appears to be lost? And we fought till the end, and got our goal back, had another one debatably ruled out, hit the post with Sidgey's header. So I think the one thing I would say is we didn't give up trying.
Yeah, which again on, that's like on Tuesday night, it was the same thing. We started slow, let them in. That obviously they nicked their goal sort of thing, but we did come back at them 2-1 and we're cruising. You think, we've sorted this now, let's just go. And somehow again, long ball, we can't hold it, gets brought back to us and we get hit, and suddenly it's 2-2 again. And you're scratching thinking, how on earth have we drawn 2-2 again?
Nah, you look, like we've talked about this before, but you look for patterns and you look for consistencies and inconsistencies, and we obviously know we're inconsistent. And I guess just looking at the start of Saturday's game compared to the start of Tuesday's game, we come flying out the blocks Saturday, got a good opponent on the ropes. Last night we're back at home, against the team we probably got to be backing ourselves to beat. No disrespect intended there, just purely based on league position, and we started sloppy. So you can't even go, well, we always start well. One game we start really well, the other game we start really slow. So it's that elusive search for some sort of reason as to why mentally we're a little bit inconsistent.
Because again, the second half was against one was similar to the second half against Fisher. We dictated the play. We had all, we were dominating them. And yet again, they've somehow nicked a goal.
Yeah,
and it's just you must be banging your head against a brick wall.
Well, again, so after that sloppy first 15, which led to the free kick, which again was a deflection, heavily deflected. So that feels like, but rather than getting too flustered about that, I actually thought the boys remained calm. I thought they remained focused on the job at hand. I think before Regan got his goal, there was at least one opportunity where he's fizzed the ball across. So we were able to get our rhythm going, and I think we finished the half the stronger, which we should be at home against.
Before he scored that one where we fizzed it across, Trev must have been less than 6 inches short. So he had to sprint like hell. He came sliding in, and it was fractions that he missed that.
Yeah.
And again, that's suddenly we're 2-1 up earlier on. Again, it's just like
goals change games. The biggest obvious statement of all time, but. I thought we started the second half really well. I think everyone was hungry. I think everyone's intensity was good. Got the goal fully deserved. Reggie's done really well with it, whether it's a cross or a shot. Who cares? You keep putting the ball into dangerous areas, you make your luck. He's then had another one, hasn't he? Where again, Trev is literally putting millimetres away. Yeah. And these are the fine margins. It didn't go in. We then got a little bit sloppy. The equaliser was, to the best of my knowledge, without the benefit of video, I think it was their only other shot on target.
I think you're right. But again, it comes down to that consistency thing, because you think, the year before, when we played Whitstable, why did we finish well? We were really on it against Whitstable, and we were, what's the word I'm looking for, but we finished really well.
Yeah, we did. We never look. I feel it's easier said than done, quite clearly, but if you can keep your levels up, and that's I was constantly kind of calling last night. Don't let the hunger, don't let the intensity drop. But it's a bit of a sucker punch. It's our own doing. I think it's a poor goal to concede. Unfortunately, we've conceded way too many poor goals. Let's be truthful. It's hard to blame it on anyone, because individually it's not like it's the same person, and you probably have to accept at our level there are going to be momentary losses of concentration, or just people making a genuine mistake. But
I think you're right, because you look at the back four, we've got 6 or 7 players who play there, and you've never managed to have a consistent one. But individually, you would look at that and think that's probably the strongest squad of back to play across the back that we've had for a long time. And same in midfield, we've never had 2 defensive midfielders like Walder and Luke. You know what I mean? You think we should be solid as hell.
If it was Football Manager, we'd have a very strong squad. But obviously, it's not Football Manager. It's the real world. You've got the human element of things, and unfortunately, not having been able to have a pre-season, or not being able to have regular training sessions together, does mean some of those interactions, some of those partnerships, some of those basic understandings of what he's going to do and what that means I'm going to do, that you only really build over time. We are unfortunately learning on the job, and that can be a bit painful at times. Yeah,
it does seem at times like you can see they haven't played because they don't know exactly which balls to play and who's going to do what when they do that. And you can see that, or like the goals when, who goes for the ball, and things like that.
Yeah, I think.
And it's like, say, if you've only got 5 or so training sessions,
at the most, I'd say.
What can you do?
Yeah, and that's just the circumstances, and I'm not making excuses, but there is a bit of an off the cuff element to our game, But then good players can work it out. I mean, the first game post Luke, which was before my appointment, you saw them comfortably take apart Eastbourne Town off the cuff, really, with no coaching. So I don't want to overstate and make too much of a fuss about training, but it's the organisation, it's the understanding of what your mate's going to do, centre-half partnerships, vital partnerships, your left back and your left centre-half, your right back, your right, your goalkeeper, just knowing what's my goalie going to do. Does he want to come for everything, or does he want me to clear everything? Our wingers, do they want it feet, do they want it in behind? You only build these understandings as you go. Even our crossing, Lucky, Reg, and Trev particularly seem to have built up quite a good understanding. But again, sometimes you need to work on that. Where do you want the ball? How do you want it? When do you want it? Just put it in that area. I'll get.
Yeah, because I keep saying the same thing to you, or some repeating ad nauseum. But when you've got a game plan, keep all the possible, go direct when you have to, and when we play like that, works perfect. Like we did with Reg, he scored last night. It works perfect. It's just when they can't stick to that because, like I said, they haven't practiced long enough, don't know each other enough. Maybe it's like that's not when we drop back a bit after we conceded a goal for a minute. There's all those sort of things always seem to happen. But it's like just stick to the game plan. You win games. We beat Whitstable 3-0 because of it.
I mean, in truth, the game plan is quite a loose structure, and we haven't been able to work on it and drum it home and fine tune it and evolve it. So it's quite basic. So, I can't really sit here and look everyone in the eye and say, hand on heart, this is a genius game plan. And when it doesn't work, it's just because the players can't do it. The game plan really is that we've got some very good wide threats and we've got a guy that thrives off of crosses.
Yeah.
I'm going to be honest with you. There isn't much more genius to it than that. I mean, we try and give some ideas of how we could get it wide, and obviously going long and direct every time gets a bit predictable. So we certainly don't say that, but again, it's partnerships, isn't it? We're still building understanding, and I'm not too concerned about us going forward because I think statistically we're averaging more goals than most in the team.
I think we're sixth in terms of goals scored.
Yeah, so I don't think there's a dramatic problem there. Occasionally teams work us out, and occasionally maybe it would be better if we had a plan B. But that's probably in terms of priorities, number one priority is fixing the amount of goals we're conceding.
Yeah.
Because we score enough to win most games. Fisher would be the exception, we only scored one. But how many Fishers have there been really?
Yeah,
maybe Beersted was the other example.
Yeah. And again, it's just we hope to, like you said, have some training sessions and have the same back four for one game. I mean, have we had the same back game back four for 2 games on the trot?
I'm not sure,
so.
if I'm honest.
I don't think so.
I had a look earlier. I mean, our run of results is highly inconsistent. I think Bryden Ropes, Rust Hall and Stansfeld is the only time we've gone 3 games unbeaten, and even then that's 2 wins and a draw. So we haven't put more than 2 wins together yet. Now, did we have the same back 4 there? I'll have to refer back, but it certainly helps. That's for sure. But injuries come, suspensions come, availability problems come, and you've got to roll with it. I've got as you said, I've got the squad on paper, but what I haven't got is the experience of playing together.
Yeah.
All the time.
So how do you prepare them for Whitstable given that?
Well, the one thing we're hoping to do is get an additional training session in. I think that's now we've got to the stage where if an opportunity is there and if the weather, we're training on the pitch, that's the option we have. So provided the weather holds out, we'll get a training session in tomorrow, which is slightly outside of the agreement the boys made prior to my arrival, but to be honest, I think the vast majority of them accept that it'd be negligent of all of us to pass on an opportunity to try and improve. We know we're more than capable of beating Whitstable. We also seen Whitstable have had back-to-back wins since, and away on their pitch with their fans, it'd be a different challenge.
Yeah, they're not going to have 2 bad games, for want of a better phrase, are they, against us?
I think all I can really concentrate is us having a good game. And I think if we perform to our optimum, and if we can cut out the mistakes, well then, if they're capable of beating us, fair play to them. Yeah, it just feels at the moment like teams aren't beating us, we're beating ourselves.
That was exactly what I was going to say, and that's precisely what everybody said last night and Saturday. All the fans are going, well, they haven't won, we've lost the game. And that might sound a bit arrogant to say it, but it's the truth. We've lost it. We haven't been beaten. We've lost it.
I mean, you can't pretend that scoring and conceding goals is not the real aim of the game. Yeah. So I don't think you've got any right to win a game you didn't score more goals than the other team. But I think when you look at balances of play, when you look at physical domination, individual battles, possession, territory, we've been okay. It is just making sure we put the ball in the net more times than we concede it, and we generally put the ball in the net enough. Saturday would be an exception to that. You know, the only thing I'll say, and you know, some of the fans probably won't be ecstatic to hear this, but the only positive is we did get something last night, and look, we're at home to a team, and I've got the greatest respect for Welling, and I'd also say that their front three are very lively, and to be fair, they had a good win at Sutton on Saturday. You've got no right in this league to beat anyone, but it was a game we would have wanted to get 3 points, let's be honest. But sometimes, if it ain't going to be your day, just make sure you don't lose. So, yeah, I'm sure that isn't the soundbite the fans want to hear, but you know, Punjab, we unfortunately didn't learn our lesson. We, in hindsight, could have probably got out there of a point if we hadn't have gone a bit hell for leather. So, yeah, I'm not happy with the point, but I'd have been distraught with none.
Yeah, and that's what I say, we came with points still, it's going to be positive. Because like I say, the bottom line for Whistle is, yes, we'll go forward at them, and we'll sort it back out a bit more for the win. So we've got to still go in feeling a bit of sense of trepidation, but still positive.
Yeah. You know? I mean, again, there is literally no easy. There's not going to be any game this season where we go, we should be winning this easy today, because every team has got threats. Every team. Whitstable got some good players. It's going to be a hard game, and then after that we've got Little Common in the Vars. Now Little Common are a well-drilled, long-established side who are very well known to me, and I've got several threats. We then got Faversham.
Nice easy run.
Yeah, we've got Glebe coming up again in the other cup. So you tell me when there's anything other than a hard game at this level. That's the reality of the situation.
Well, I think that, you know, in hindsight, yes, we can feel a bit disappointed by the weekend and not too sure about Whitstable, but actually, if you get into the training session in, I can see that we can go at them again.
Yeah, I mean, I think really we're focused on what we're doing well. Like we have caused every single side, with the possible exception of Bearsted, we've caused every side we've played a lot of problems on the front foot. So we know. Let's be positive. You know, I think we're scoring more goals than we perhaps did last year. The problem is obviously that we're not killing. When we keep a team away from our goal, we look quite comfortable. The Holmesdale, probably our best two performances have been Holmesdale and Whitstable, probably. I suppose you throw the Derby win in there as well, just for the sentiment of it. But for me, the Whitstable and Holmesdale were the most complete performances. And what we've got to try and do is make sure we keep the door closed on the opposition, like we did on those days. Don't give them any encouragement, because there's so much psychology at this level of football. Like you commented, we let that one in on Saturday and we just deflated. Well, that's psychological, isn't it? Really. So, and you know, you kind of get a double negative. You let the opposition have a lift, and you're a bubble person. Yeah, we've probably got to get a little bit more savvy in just shutting the door on people.
Well, hopefully on Saturday we are against Whitstable then.
I hope so. Yeah.
Cheers then.
Cheers.
Thanks.